Can I get a little bit of whoop whoop? All right. So here we go. So Summer Shape. I love to talk about it. I was really excited about this workshop. Some of you guys that are with me this week could see me. I was like a little kid at Christmas time. I think this may be one of the most important ones we do coming up. Let me go ahead and tell you, I'm more of a context person. I like the stories. I like the context of why it is you're telling me a certain thing more than the content. And this is a content-heavy talk, okay? So stay with me. I'm going to try and be at right about an hour. And so I'm going to rush through some of these things. If you need to stop me, stop me. This is not a Dr. David talking head talk. So stop me, ask questions, just raising hands. Can we do that? Got it? And we'll try and do some questions at the end as well. Got it? Okay, so first thing, we've got a Maximize Metabolics Makeover coming up. First ever in the history of Maximize Living. Coming up on the 14th of next month. Make sure you get your tickets. You have to have a ticket. It's a ticketed event because we're going to be at a separate location. We will run out of those tickets. There's an early bird special up until about the 7th or so. It's $5 for a ticket, so it's less than going to the movies. And if you buy for all your friends, you get 5 tickets, so it's $25. The cost of maybe going to the movies. You get a free book as well. So we want to make sure that you're bringing all your guests. Who here wants even more specific information on nutrition other than just do the core advanced plan? Just raise your hands. Yep, and so what we're going to do is we're going to show you and have you take an LRQ. Some of you guys have done metabolics yet. And show you more specifics of some recommendations dietary that will help. Like maybe if you're a B vitamin deficient person, you may need some foods or meals or recipes that are high in B vitamins, yes? So wouldn't it be cool that if you could cook or do recipes that were your supplements? How about that one? That's the point, specificity. And so we're going to do some of that on the 14th. Every time I talk to some of you guys that have been around forever, you're a person that's been here a decade or 15 years or so, and I talked, hey, the makeover's coming up, because we all go to makeovers, and you're like, well, you know, I just went to the last 2 or something, right? It shouldn't be any of this because it's all new. We're actually writing all new content. Got it? And so make sure you're there. What's the day? The 14th, and it's going to be 11 a.m. to 2. We're also going to, we're planning on including different, so specifics for what your needs are, lunches that are metabolic lunches. How about that? Cool. So it's going to be really fun. We were thinking about doing 1 to 4. We're going to do 11 to 2 just so we can do that. Also, I have a special treat for you guys. I didn't promo this. Nobody knew it was coming. But actually, I'm giving you my new recipe that I just made this week, the chia seed chocolate pudding. Did I give that to you already? Oh, because you're always like my first people that you get it. Like, what do you got new? So I'm like their street dealer for new recipes. But I've got a new recipe for you. I've never made it in this volume, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. But it's chia seed chocolate pudding, and there's only 3 ingredients. It's coconut milk, chia seeds, and ml chocolate perfect protein, and it congeals into almost like a chocolate tapioca pudding, and it's amazing. So I'm going to have the team get that together, and while we're talking tonight, they're going to bring some out for you. Does that sound good? Anybody want some chocolate pudding? I do. That's right. All right, so this is going to be, again, right here, early bird special. Get a free book. Make sure everybody you know is with you. Got it? All right. Starting out, we need to move. This whole talk is about getting back to truth, principles, and just what works. Does that make sense? You need truths and principles. The problem is the world comes away from truths and principles, and we get in trouble because of it. One truth and principle that you have to have is your body has to move. Yes or no?
Yes.
Has to move. And if you don't move, there's consequences, aren't there? You have a joint and you don't move it, what happens to that joint? It sticks, it dies, it becomes arthritic as it's dying, right? And I have people go, I can't work out because I have an arthritic joint. And guess what I tell them?
Do it anyway.
You better move it because it's going to get worse. And actually we see a lot of people who push on that, and there's definitely some situations, but the point is if you can really move that joint again, a lot of times those things completely reverse. And I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. But if you look, State of the Union is pretty bad. I mean, people just don't exercise. And right now when there's polled, 27% of people polled didn't exercise at all last month. The entire month. Didn't exercise one time. 27% of the people. Now in my group of doctors that teach this, that was said on a phone call. Everybody went, oh, you could hear that. Now in this group, you were like, yeah, I don't remember if I worked out. But it is a principle. And if you look at it, there's just preventable weight gain. There's just preventable diseases. And if you don't move, you're going right towards it, right? Working out or moving or exercise is not a good idea. It is an essential. And if you don't do it, you're basically triggering genetics that open up the window for all the diseases to come into you and your house. Does that make sense? And it's science. I mean, you're not moving, you trigger genetics. But what shape do you want to be in? Now, I love these pictures. You know, you see this person who's more of a marathoner, and you see this person who basically looks really fit, yes? right? Same thing with a guy. This is a marathoner, thin but high body fat, but this person, low body fat, muscular, right? And then you got this person working out with a bowl, right? Now, Kimberly, if you guys were here last summer, she caught a picture of me when I was relaxing at the house. I was embarrassed. I can show you that. But again, I was tanning. It was bad. But it's not about, your shape is not about, ladies, stop looking at that. It's like they're just focused. They're focused on that. Pay attention. But your shape is, I don't want to focus as much on biceps or abs or just, losing weight so you can get in a bathing suit this summer or whatever else. What I want you to focus on is what kind of shape you're in. Does that make sense? And the shape you're in to create momentum for what you're wanting. And those are two different shapes. Which one would you like to be, right? I want to be the guy on the right. Does it make sense? Ladies, or the lady, if there was the lady on the right. Does that make sense? But you create that by what you're doing. So she's got all the pudding right here. So you guys get you one of these. You guys, as soon as you try it, you're going to go, can I have another one? And there's probably enough, because we probably made enough for 3 times as many people here. But this is what you got to create. So I want you to have a certain shape, but it's not necessarily how you look. I generally don't worry about how I look. My hair, and I try to shave often, those things. But I generally don't exercise to look a certain way. Does that make sense? In fact, when we sit down and do a consult with a patient, we talk about weight or goals or things. The reason that I sometimes hesitate on goals for weight is if you do the advanced plan, or you start doing Max T3, and you reach your weight goal or you get close to it, once you reach that goal, what do people do? They go back to the way that they were doing before. So when I ask people what your goal is, I want goals more like, hey, I want to be healthy for a lifetime. I want to be running when I'm 83. My mom didn't start running. How old when you started running?
59.
She was 59 when she started running. Right? That's not usually when people start running, right? It's usually when people have stopped running 10, 15 years ago, and now she's 71 doing some stuff. So I thought what I would do today is I would ask my mom, who's a veteran of what I'm going to talk about tonight, just give you some of her experience. So I waited till her mouth was full. And so if you would, come here. And since we don't have 2 mics, I'm going to do this, okay? And you just hold that, and I'll just kind of come right here.
Like an umbilical cord.
Yeah, like an umbilical cord. Spoken like my mom. YouTube, that's my mom. So give me kind of the heads up. So where were you? What did you do? And then kind of where are you at now?
Okay, I had basically a basketball knee.
Anybody else have that trick knee or whatever else, right? You got
Played all the way through high
or a
school.
shoulder or whatever else, yeah.
And the doctor, when I told him about some soreness in my hands, identified that I had arthritis in my hands. Well, I'm a paper folder, and I do a lot of stuff. And it just devastated me because he wanted to give me medication for it. And I talked to David about it, and of course he went.
How did I feel about that? Yeah, didn't feel
He said, Mom, if you would just try this. So I went through the...
Okay, wait a second. So my mom loves bread. Raise your hand if you love bread.
I make...
She does make the best bread ever.
My first degree was in home economics with an emphasis in nutrition, and so cooking has really always been my thing.
Okay, so you did the advanced plan 100%.
No breads. Gave up Coke. And I called him.
They're laughing because
I know. I called him about 2-3 weeks later. He said, Mom, just try it. All I ask is you just try it. 2 to 3 weeks later, I called him and I said, David, I just weighed. And I've lost a lot of weight. I noticed that my clothes were getting a little loose.
I started laughing like, yeah.
And basically, it was those changes made it possible for me to, instead of walking and running both, I could run those 5Ks and start bringing home the first place ribbons and medals.
And your hands?
And my hands, I got to noticing that the less sugar that I had in my diet, there was less aching. When this first began, I would be awake for a while when I would lie down because it hurt. And it was hard to go to sleep with it. But it diminished. And it had to be the sugar, because it's the one thing that I changed major. And that perpetuated more exercise because with a little bit of weight loss, I felt more like running. Jim might not have agreed because he was walking with me. And I was like the little
I don't
road runner.
with her, but she doesn't try to stay with me.
But it's just been really a life changer because I feel good.
So if you could give them one tidbit, maybe a hurdle, if you guys hit an obstacle and kind of what would help get through some of the knot holes, basically, what would be a good helpful hint you could give them? In what area?
When I get up of a morning, before I make coffee, before I do anything, I get on the treadmill or the stationary bike. I used my money from paper folding and bought those two things. And that exercise gets my day started. Ideally, I would say that and absolutely no soft drinks. The bread I won't ever go back to. I take a vacation once in a while. David gave me permission to.
And I gave you permission too, didn't I?
But I realize when I do that it's really a vacation. It's not my lifestyle anymore. And not that I'm in great shape, but for 71, I do pretty well. I loved yesterday or Saturday when I finished the run. I thought I could do another 5K. I know I could.
I love it.
And so my next goal
Give it to me.
is a half marathon.
That's awesome. I'm going to do that with you. Here, give some kisses. I love her. All right, that's my mama. You better give it up for my mama. So the one thing I want to kind of point out about what she just said is she said, if I take a vacation meal, that's not my life anymore. Did you hear that? Her life is something different. She was never that person. I never knew her growing up to be the person to get up before anybody else to go do 5Ks. And I look up and mom's gone because she's doing 5Ks. But I get almost every single Saturday a text from my mom going, I'm at this run and I'm about to go. And then I get a text like 30 minutes later, I got first place and I got my t-shirt and my medal for first place. And just, how do you think I feel? How proud do you think I feel that my mom, who wasn't, I don't think, able to do that now, is looking at a half marathon in her 70s, which is hard to even say that. But you see that?
Without medication.
Without medication, yeah. She went to the doctor that day and she goes, it's funny, they asked me twice, you're not on medications? No. So no medications, right, when she goes in, right? That's the way it should be. That's what normal should be. So how do we get there? Let's talk about it. First of all, know where we're at. We're the sickest country on the face of the planet Earth that you can go to the bathroom outside, because we have a society that now runs and creates a lifestyle for most of you before you got here and wants to get you back to that gravitational pull. We actually have people who just aren't exercising enough, they're not moving, or, quote, doing the best they can. It's once a week or twice a week, whatever else. You have people that are eating, quote, good, and yet it's all the food pyramid, so grains and more grains and oatmeals and all the rest, and it creates all the inflammation and arthritises and diabetes and cancers and heart diseases and high blood pressure and depression. And so all these things happen as a result. You know, is that one of your shapes? And what we have to do is we have to change your shape. And the way that we do that is through the 5 essentials. Now, getting in shape. Physical fitness, basically, I love these 2 definitions. If I ask you what physical fitness is, there's a bunch of different definitions. You may say it's, like if I go to the gym today and there's some muscle heads in there with no necks, like, yeah, it's grabbing a hold of 110-pound barbells, and you know, that's fitness. But then, where's the flexibility? But you go to the yoga class and the lady that's on one fingertip going like this and holding a foot up here, she's like, it's really flexibility, right? But then you go to the gymnastics gym and maybe it's balance. And or you go to CrossFit, maybe it's ability to continue all these other things. If you go to a running place, then it'll be, there's so many different variations of it. But I think it's everything. But I like this definition. The first one is, it defines the capacity to carry out the day's activities. Also, to be able to handle emergency situations. That's answers.com. So, you know, if someone's cleaning a table and it falls on them, that I can run over there and just clean and jerk that thing right off of it, right? Or something happens to my kids or something else. It's an ability to, oh, wait, and I run and I sprint all the way across the room without, you know, busting a knee or having a hip give out. Are you guys with me? I mean, it's ability to do what you want to do and have situations where you can, you know, push it a little bit. The next one, Capability of the body of distributing inhaled oxygen to muscle tissue during increased physical effort. I love that one. That is very simple and pure, especially because our fourth essential is maximized oxygen and lean muscle. So we're going to talk about some metabolic conditioning today, and it really has to do with your ability to take oxygen. Right now, if I had everybody in the room do some metabolic conditioning at different levels, you guys would be able to have an efficiency level with oxygen. Some of your efficiencies are low, and some of your efficiencies are a little higher. Some of you guys would be embarrassed at how much it takes to get you out of breath. Some of you guys would be proud of it because it takes a lot more to get you out of breath. And what we want is more and more that it takes a whole lot more to get you out of breath because you're more efficient in getting that through. Does it make sense? And it takes a couple different things to do that. But these are the essentials that you need. These are all essential. There's not one more than the other. A great litmus test for how healthy you are is body comp. It's not the number one, but it's a good one, okay? We want yours to get better and better as you go. But exercise in your mind. And exercise is not just a good idea, it is something that's an absolute. If you don't exercise, guess what happens? You become depressed, you start having anxiety, you don't feel good about yourself. I had a guy come this morning and talk to me, and his wife is having issues. She's 53, she had a full hysterectomy. She just doesn't feel great. And you know what? Probably because she is having an area in one of these essentials that is in need. Does it make sense? But if you just look at this, I love these. The research is so clear. 30 minutes a day of just walking is twice as good as an antidepressant. Actually, studies show right now, exercise, 2 to 1 better than antidepressants, 2 to 1 better than Fosamax, 2 to 1 better than something with cancer treatment, something like this. But actually, if you just did something for 30 minutes a day, Dr. Kimberly is now she's going on her 3rd year. How long are you on now for exercise every day?
February 28th is my anniversary, so I'm 2 years and 3 months.
2 years and 3 months, every single day without missing a day of exercise. Because I came home one day, and you know I'm the nerd with the research, and I found that if you did 30 minutes a day of something, just if it was just walking 30 minutes a day, that you decrease breast cancer by like 69%, colon cancer 43%, like all of these things, and it's what you guys want, but then if you can't go get a, quote, good workout in, then you just leave it on the table. You don't take it, right? But raise your hand if you could do something for 30 minesse. Anything, good. Now keep your hand up if you could do something for 6 to 12 minutes. Gotcha, good. All right, let's move on. All right, so a little bit of Max Mind here. I spoke and volunteered at the North Texas Cancer Support group this last week. Great folks over there, and we did a lot with Max Mind. But starting with this, you know, if you were a friend of yours living with you and you talk to yourself like you do, you would get rid of yourself. There'd be a fist fight between you and you. Most of us have some subconscious things going on that you would never say. It'd be so rude, you would never tell a human being that, right? I'm not a fit person, I'm too lazy. You are what you say about yourself. If you say you're lazy, then you are. If you say that you're unfit, you are. If you say that you're not an exercise person, I'm sure my mom said she wasn't a runner for years and years. I'm not a runner. I got a basketball knee. I can't do that, right? Did you? Is that true? Yeah, I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner.
I'm not built for it.
I'm not built for that, right? I hear that a lot. Kathy is a good example. Just walk through here. Kathy is 75 pounds lighter than she used to be. I'm sure she at one point said, you know, I'm not a runner. I'm not a workout person. And now she freaks out if she can't be at workout at 5 a.m. and like punching and like doing boxing and this stuff that's off the chain. She's a great example because she changed her mindset. And so this is a change journal right here, and every single person that's here tonight will get this. You just go to the website, download it, and this change journal has some awesome stuff about how to change your mindset. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but I want you to write down some changes. So I want you to find something in here that's keeping you from exercising. I'm not a morning person, right? So you haven't been getting up.
That's me.
That's it. Yeah, so you and I are going to work on that. Yeah, you're not a morning person either? Yeah, well, I had that too. Now 4:30, 5 o'clock comes, and I can't tell you that I've ever woke up at 4:30, 5 o'clock and went, yes, I get to get up, right? Unless it was vacation day and get on a plane. But I can tell you I've never finished a workout that early and went, you know, I wish I would have stayed in bed. I've never said that, ever, and neither will you. And the sum of where you're at right now is the sum of your consistency. Whether inconsistency or consistent consistency, it is the level, it is the success that you've had right now, wherever you're at in your life. It's your consistency with what works for you in these truths and principles, okay? So part of what you're going to do this in this change journal for 30 days is find this and then write the opposite of it. So if it's, I'm not a fit person, I love being a person always fit, right? If it's, I'm too lazy to exercise, I wake up every day and exercise. And you say it first person, you say it positive, you say it present tense, and you say it like it's happening right now. Got it? Okay, very simple. And repeat for 30 days. Let's just get some lies off the table here. This is some lies you've been telling yourself. How about this one? Exercise hurts. Okay, it's a lie. People will go, listen, exercise hurts, I've got bad joints and it'll make them worse. No, it doesn't make joints worse. It actually makes joints better, okay? You have to move them. You have to move them. How about this one? I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to exercise. I have people that have literally had the audacity to tell me that they didn't have time to do 12-minute workouts. I just don't have time. I can't fit it in, right? And to that I say, well, come with me and work out with me for 6 minutes. And I bet you I can get you a really good workout in 6 minutes. How about this one? Do 100 burpees in less than 7 minutes, right? Would that think it gets you out of breath? Right? Do you know what a burpee is? Everybody know what a burpee is? It's where you jump down into a push-up position, do a push-up, and then jump back to your feet, and then jump, clap. That's one. Do 100 of those in a row as fast as you can. I got a friend of mine that does it sub 4. He did them every single day, 2013. Did 300, 50 something days of it. And so, so 365. Thank you. Very proud parents. So, moving on. How about this one? Yeah, he wasn't an accountant. I can't afford the equipment. Right? You heard my mom say, well, I got a treadmill and I got a bike. Some of those things can be really expensive, and they can be. I know that they invested in a good treadmill, but because you love it.
They work.
But you don't have to have it. You get that, when you're a patient in the office, you got what? You got that DVD series. Throw it in there, do it. Throw it in there, just do it, right? Also, there's a lot of things you can do 4 days a week. When Dorota's here, she's on vacation now, but when she's here, 4 days a week, there's Max T3 classes. Just come up here. It's a great time to do it, okay? And I love this one. There's no miracle pill. Raise your hand if you know that there's no miracle pill. Got it? But aren't they trying to sell you one, right? Are there weight loss pills? Are there spectacular lean up pills? You see all that? There's no such thing as a pill. There's only life change. If you change your life, then you'll get it. And look at this. 98% of people that actually had lasting, real success, 98% modified their food intake. Got that? 90% of them exercise daily. Got that? So it's just life change. And it's life change not just for now, but for when. This is just, you know how do you know how to quit smoking? I can tell you exactly how to quit smoking. Become a non-smoker. Yeah, no, but listen, and my dad smoked pipes. He smoked, is that okay? I didn't ask if I could tell him that, but he smoked for a while. But you're not a smoker until you recognize yourself as a non-smoker, right? My identity, I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. So if someone asked me to light up or something, well, I don't smoke. That's not who I am. If someone asked me to go work out, that is incongruent. That's congruent with who I am. I love to work out. I love to run. I love to go do those things. So of course, that's what I do as part of my life. I'm not going to do this and then stop because it's part of who I am. Does that make sense? So what you have to do is have to create a self-identity. That's who you are. Does that make sense? Right? I'm Maximize Living. And here's the real part. You need a plan. And what I'm going to give you tonight is the plan. Okay? And you got to have a place to start. Okay? The plan is very simple. It's going to be in this. And I actually loaded this thing down, your change journal. I loaded this thing down with what everybody wants here. Like I know right now, if I give you some free recipes, what do? Okay, give me some free recipes. Yeah, give me some. And I think it's the last page of this. It is. It's got, it's just pages and pages of these new recipes. But there's one for strawberry gelato. I put it up here too. Raise your hand if you like gelato. Raise your hand if you like gelato right now. Yeah, so okay, good. But it's basically, all it is frozen strawberries, avocado, and then a little bit of stevia if you need it. I don't even need it. And then just grind those two things up in a blender. And it's thick, rich gelato, and it's strawberry gelato. It's awesome. So, but you'll get that and a bunch of other things in here. But it is, because you can have strawberries just in a limited amount. You got it, for sure. So the study shows how important meal planning is to goal setting and accountability. Like, we're going on vacation Thursday, right? So you guys know we're going to be out of town. The team is going to take great care of you while we're gone. But one big thing that we had to do is we had to plan what we're eating. I don't eat like everybody else. This is how I live. It's me, right? And so I'm not going to go and just buy a bunch of Wonder Bread and bologna and have bologna, mustard sandwiches while we're out there all week.
Or you'd be on vacation.
yeah, she's vacation. I think they've got something going on back there. So what we had to do is we had to plan. Does that make sense? So for like 2 hours yesterday, we were planning every single meal, every single snack, every single beverage, everything that we're doing. Now, am I going to have some vacation meal on that? Yes, probably a couple times. I'm going to have some fun. That's what vacation's for. So I am going to do that. But it's not going to be, 7 days every meal go nuts and come back and my eyes are swollen. I got like 3 double chins. They're like, how's vacation? It's good. Let's get some adjustments going, right? It's going to be vacation, but I had to plan. So guess what you have to do? You have to what?
Plan.
You have to plan. You have to plan to be successful. Raise your hand if you've done this diet and you got caught out and you didn't have something to eat. That's hard, isn't it? Right? You look around, you're like, Chipotle, I guess, again? Something like this, right? So you have to be planning. We're going to go through it. All right, so let's compare a couple things. Classic cardio versus what we're talking about tonight, metabolic conditioning. Classic cardio is more like the running my mom was talking about. It's good for you. I'm not going to beat it. There's great benefits to it. I want everybody to do it. I'm going to do a half marathon with my mom hopefully this year. But I can tell you that the pros are spectacular. The cons, there are some cons for long distance, heavy duty, long duration things. And if you look at regular cardio or old fashioned classic cardio, remember 80s, 90s talk about being in the fat burning zone, right? So you get in the fat burning zone to burn fat. And it does that, except for when you're done, you actually switch it over and you start burning more sugar. So it creates sugar cravings, decreases energy stores and things like this. You start having some other things, decreased testosterone, decreased human growth hormone, decreases immune function if you do it long enough, right? So a lot of times you see marathon runners have low immunity. But it's all aerobic, right? Do you guys know what aerobic means? It means with what? Oxygen. Aerobic means with oxygen. Aerobic exercise means you're with oxygen. What I'm going to show you tonight is how to do anaerobic and aerobic activity at the same time. Okay? What I have to do is talk about this, and I have to get you guys to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what I need you to be. I need you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Say that with me. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is more comfortable for me to go for a 15, 30, or 45-minute run than it is for me to do a 12-minute workout. It's more comfortable. Okay? It's more comfortable for me to go get on a treadmill and walk for an hour than it is to do a 6-minute super fast workout. It's more comfortable for me to get on my bike and go for a 30-minute bike ride than it is to go do even like a CrossFit workout. It's more comfortable, okay? But here's the reason. It's because in the workout for metabolic conditioning, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get yourself through an aerobic state into a what? An aerobic state, which means without what? Now, how's it feel to not be able to breathe? Yeah, it doesn't feel very good, right? Well, guess what? Some of you guys have tried to do max T3 or you've tried to do metabolic conditioning and you really have never got yourself to be where you physically felt like you could not get enough breath. Like there's often times where I finish a workout where I'm laying on my back and I look like a fish out of water. I mean, I just can't get it. I can't hardly get it. But that's, to you to get to an oxygen burn, that's what it's going to take, okay? Now, this is high intensity, short duration exercise, and you've got to get to that point. Now, some of you guys are going to have to get fit to get fit. Some of you guys, I couldn't work you out hard enough to do what I just got the other day, like I was just talking about. Like you're not going to be able to handle that. Some of you guys have just gone through surgery. Some of you guys, your joints may not be there. Maybe your pulmonary respiratory centers are just not even online enough to handle that, okay? And it wouldn't be necessarily that safe. And some of you guys may take 30, 60, 90 days just to get yourself to a state where you can actually begin the process of hitting this thing that hard. Does it make sense? Right? We used to throw people in there. I'd have people come and we'd do 100 burpees and they're like, I'm never coming back to that class. That was just nuts. That was just crazy. So sometimes it takes a little bit to get to that. I think, Armando, I think you were there for that class. So 12 minutes every day though. That's what we're going to do. Okay. What is it? Okay. So we just talk about just some science here. Increases human growth hormone. What's that? Is it going to make you have to shave, ladies? No. Human growth hormone is the youth. It's the fountain of youth for you. It's the reason my mom's joints feel better. It's what the diet helps with. The diet will actually help increase your human growth hormone. It actually, the metabolic conditioning, when you reach an anaerobic state, helps a release of human growth hormone. And there's people that are actually illegally injecting that stuff into them, athletes. It's not safe, it's dangerous, but it helps. I mean, it keeps joints young. It's like a fountain of youth. It significantly increases lean tissue development. So ladies, you don't have to worry about looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like you walk around, I don't want to bulk up like this. You don't have to worry about it. But what it is going to do, it's going to help you gain some lean body mass, and it'll help you look leaner. And most of the time when it actually starts to converse, you'll actually have more room in pants and everything else because you're losing what?
Inches.
Inches in body fat. Does that make sense? If you had more muscle on you right now, would you burn more calories sitting there? Mm-hmm. That's the point. That's what we're trying to do. But afterburn is because you use so much oxygen that your body is in a deficit of O2, and it's trying to rebuild that for the next 12, 36 to 48 hours. If I go on a treadmill for 45 minutes and I'm just walking, okay, or maybe even just jogging lightly, when I get done, how long does it take to regain my oxygen?
Just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so my heart rate, back to normal, couple minutes, no big deal. 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe tops. But if I go and do 100 burpees for time in 5 minutes as fast as I can, bam, 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 like this, and I get done, I'm like this, how long do you think it takes me to recover?
15 minutes.
Oh, it's a good 12 to 24 hours of recovery for my hormones, for oxygen, O2 demand, all of it. Does that make sense? And that's what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? Some of you guys are scared, like, does he really have to breathe that hard? Yes. Enhances both. Now, if you just do aerobic exercise will enhance aerobic energy cycles, energy systems. Anaerobic will actually do both. When I'm breathing that hard, do you think my with oxygen, my aerobic systems are getting more efficient? You better believe they are. But also, you have an energy cycle pathway in your body that doesn't need oxygen, that when you're driving like this, it also gets those systems back online again, and those are the ones that have to do with reversing the hormones that keep you gaining weight or aging. Right? So how important do you think? Would that be pretty cool if you could do those things? And last but not least, your cells being healthy is where health comes from. If every cell you had was healthy, you wouldn't get cancer, you wouldn't have diabetes, you wouldn't have heart disease, you wouldn't have disease, you wouldn't have skin issues, you wouldn't have digestive issues. It would literally be completely reversed. So getting healthy at the cellular level, this is what metabolic conditioning can do, right? And I almost wish you just said conditioning your metabolic pathways, because that's really what it is. Metabolic conditioning is just conditioning your metabolic pathways. Make sense? Right? So we a lot of talk about that. Burning fat, great studies. There's some good science in here. You can read that. But basically, I love this one. Another 12-week study. Subject lost basically a stick of butter off their waistlines and another 3.1 pounds of pure unadulterated fat off their trunks. Anybody want to lose all that just from your trunk? I do. But how about this one? This is reversing metabolic syndrome. So right here, metabolic syndrome is basically where people work out and then you feel terrible once you've worked out. Anybody know anybody like that? Or what? So you work out and then you're just in the toilet for a couple of days. Or you get sick every time you work out, or it's just people have metabolic syndrome. It's basically on the scale of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, but it's years sometimes before that. Right? It's just that you can't work out. You just start working out, you feel terrible. But people that are actually in the study, half of them, 16 weeks of metabolic conditioning, half of them completely didn't have any of it left, couldn't even diagnose them with it. And they didn't even make dietary changes. Do you see how powerful that is? Because it's driving the anaerobic arena, basically. Okay? Just awesome stuff. So how do you surge? Basically, you can do whatever you want, but you got to do it at what intensity level?
High.
Up there high. That's why some of you guys need to make sure you're maybe getting in shape a little bit before you hit this thing this hard. We did 1,000 people in our test group for Max T3. We had 93-year-olds. We had one guy's almost 500 pounds. We had 2 people with hip replacements. We had several spinal surgeries. Lots of diabetics, with neuropathies and things like this. Not one person injured themselves. And you can't say that with stuff like P90X and Insanity and even CrossFit. I love CrossFit and we do CrossFit. I'm going to suggest a lot of people would do great with CrossFit in here, and I'm hoping you will. However, there are arenas where you will get injured, and we didn't have that in Max T3. Why? Because you can do whatever is good for you. I had a conversation with a guy today. His dad's 84, and his dad's got bilateral hip replacement, and he's just having all these issues. I said, why don't you just have him do Max T3 or do a high-intensity workout, metabolic conditioning, while he's seated, right? I mean, I dare you, do this seated or do this seated fast, and I bet it'll get you out of breath, right? But some of you go, well, if I can't go to the gym, I can't work out, I can't walk anymore, so I'm just not going to. No, you do what you can and get this thing rolling again, so eventually you get back up and get going again, right? But what can you do? Cycling, sprinting, stairs, elliptical, whole body movements, squat, thrusts, burpees, these things. But it can be anything that gets you up to what? 80, 90% of your maximum, okay? There's the stuff. Tell me, raise your hand if you've done this even once or twice, some of this stuff. So again, 3/4 of the room, it's good stuff. If you don't have this, again, it's 10% off, but if you guys are patients, you guys should have it, yes? Right, if you don't, make sure. I had somebody go, I never opened it, now I can't find it. Like, don't tell me that, ever. Do push-ups, 20 of them right now. But let me talk. So there's a better time to get the best reboot of your hormones, and when's the best time to do metabolic conditioning? First thing in the morning, empty stomach, before you eat. First thing, and I mean literally right out of the gates. When's the second best time to do metabolic conditioning? Anytime. Bam! Right there, the winner in the front row. Yeah, so first time is first thing in the morning. The second time is anytime. Like some of you guys, because you're perfectionists, it's why you've gotten up where you've gotten now. If you couldn't do what's the best of the best of the best, you're like, I didn't do it this morning, I'm not going to do it. No, you do it anytime, right? If all you did was do it at other times, then you'd be stellar, right? Make sense? So let's talk about diet a little bit as we're moving through time here. Dieting doesn't work, period. Don't diet. If you're going to diet, don't start. I don't want you to do a diet. In fact, 3/4 of the word diet is what? Die. Don't do a diet, right? If you do a diet, eventually you're going to be off your diet. Just start being a different person, right? I don't want to be a person that I don't want to be a person that's lost weight and exercised himself into physical fitness at 85. I want to be the person who became the person who is just naturally physically fit and looks great at 85. Make sense? There's a big difference there. In fact, I don't think the other is possible, right? I think it could be in your teens or 20s, right? Maybe even 30s, but past that, you have to become the person that you want to be. Make sense? Not diet, not quick fixes, not a 1-month thing, not a 6-month thing, but this is just who you are, which is always why I tell you guys, make sure you keep coming to workshops, because the guys that are at workshops, you'll be here in 3 to 5 years and you'll keep on getting better. Right? Kathy was here 7 years before she was a team member. And the first several was rough. She didn't lose weight. She didn't do those things. And she was frustrated probably. But she kept to it. She kept pushing in. She kept getting encouragement. She kept getting adjusted, kept doing it. And finally things started clicking. She started adding it. And how do you feel when you get a little bit of results?
Great.
Yeah, you get a little more hope, and it makes you want to do what? A little bit more. And then as you did a little bit more, now she's kickboxing and all kind of crazy stuff running. She's jumping out of airplanes too. But you need a sustainable change, okay? This is the 10 pounds fast plan, okay? This is it, and it's in this, okay? It's also in your book. You guys all have cruise ship or nursing home books that lose 10 pounds fast is in there. It's basically an advanced plan. You're eliminating sugars first. That's what my mama said. Get rid of sugars, okay? Anything that turns to sugar, because it'll drive all the hormones that you don't want. Cut out grains. Why? Because grain turns to what? Sugar. I talked to another person this morning. They were like, yeah, but I have a healthy breakfast. I said, what is it? And I could almost guess what it was. It was grains, but what kind? What was it? Steel cut? Oatmeal. That's it. Healthy. Heart healthy. Supposed to be good for your heart, right? No, it's not. You eat oatmeal, I guarantee you have a heart attack eventually, because it causes inflammation, and I don't care what your cholesterol does. Cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease, but inflammation does, and grains cause inflammation. They cause you to have arthritis in your joints to get old and everything else. So cut out the grains. Remove bad fats and add good fats, okay? That dessert you just had, who enjoyed the pudding? Did you enjoy that? Was that pretty good? Now, it probably didn't congeal. I haven't even seen it. I made it at lunch and then threw it in the refrigerator. But it congeals into like a pudding, and it is spectacular. Was it pretty good? Yeah, it's almost like a tapioca. That right there, on a scale, it's a omega-3. It's a new thing that you guys probably haven't heard about yet, but in the nutrition circles you have. It's called an omega-3 scale. It's a measurement scale. And basically, chia seeds are like a positive 93 or something. They're off the chart good. Even things you think are good fats like avocados, it's not real high on it. But things like chia seeds, that right there between coconut milk and chia seed, you do that. It basically is better than a lot of the things you do for like aspirins and leaves and things for anti-inflammation, and it's food. Right? So make sure you have what you need to make that. Okay. Also, do you think that would curb a craving? You think that would curb a craving? It does for me. I've been making it every day since I made it the first time. But eat fruit sparingly, because as soon as you take out grains and sugar, guess what you're going to do? Well, strawberries are healthy, and Costco and Sam's has a 10-pound thing of it for $11.99, and you look up and you ate all 10 pounds, right? Right? But it's healthy, right? It's healthy, right? Strawberries are healthy, and it's natural, and they're organic, because I paid $900 at Whole Foods. But it's fruit, and fruit you want to eat sparingly, because fruit is natural what? Sugar, and it will do the same thing. So you can have berries, but you got to have a limited amount. So you can have strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, these things, but you want to have, half a cup, 3/4 cup at max. Got it? And you got to be careful. Also, you don't want to, if you want to really, really make a bang for your buck when it comes to berries, freeze them. And they'll actually be better to cut a carb craving than anything else. But eat fruit sparingly. Avoid toxins. If you guys do the advanced plan 100%, and you do surge training, and you don't lose weight, and you don't get lean, I guarantee you there's only one problem. Guess what it is? Toxicity. It's 100%. It's a done deal. I guarantee it. And I've got 17 years of practice. Anybody that's got the issue, they're toxic. And so you got to deal with that too. So that's why Dr. Kimberly's here. But it's also why we do daily detox. That's a pretty simple way to do it. If there's advanced toxins, you need an advanced thing, do that. But this is the 10 pounds fast plan. Eliminate sugars, cut out grains, remove bad fats, add good fats, eat fruit sparingly, and avoid toxins. And as far as the fats go, here's a list of healthy fats. You should have this in their book, okay? You see seeds up there. That's where the chia seeds go, okay? But again, it's anti-inflammatory, balances hormones. Right now, one of the reasons you need good fats is because if you're doing metabolic training or conditioning, guess what? You're going to be making brand new and healthy what? Hormones made out of what? Fat. Everybody with me? Say fat. Fat. It's made out of fat. That's what you need, right? And you hear this stuff all the time. I need a low-fat diet. No, you don't need a low-fat diet. People that do low-fat diets have a lot of fat in their head that's unusable, right? You need to do high-fat diet and good fat diet, yeah.
What about avocados?
Avocados are great. Is that on the list?
Oil. Yes.
Oh, avocado oil, yes. Avocado oil is on a good list. Did you guys see that at Sam or at Costco? Uh-huh. Hallelujah. Got a new one. Awesome. Avocado oil, very good. Yep, so all good there. So don't sabotage the workout. When you do metabolic conditioning, because you just burned through glycogen storage, you're going to have, oftentimes as you're getting started, cravings when you're done with your workout. You did all that work. Do you know how you can completely blow it? As if you never did any, in fact, even make it worse, cause inflammation in the joints that you just pounded. Guess what? Eat a high carb anything when you're done. Got it? You eat high carb stuff, breads, pasta, rice, wheat, any of these things, even a big glass of orange juice when you're done. Just got through working out, big glass of orange juice, right? Then guess what? Jack that up, and guess what? Inflammation and all the rest. You guys see me? Right? So that's a big one. So don't sabotage it, but what you do want to do is you want to give yourself a protein and fat source that's great. I think the best post-workout you could possibly have would be probably the chia seeds you just had, because it's high in fat and high, I wouldn't say it's high, but it's good protein. It's digestible whey protein. Also, I just read a study that came out yesterday, and Rebecca, I sent you that article, yes, on whey protein. And how people on whey protein, they lose weight, their hormones are better, they don't have depression, they have all these other things just from whey protein, and probably not even good source whey protein. So make sure you have some of this. Now I put this in here, I'm running out of time, okay? So I'm gonna go through this fast, because I mentioned it is part of Maximize Living's teaching for this month through all 500 offices. I added a little bit more. I taught on this 3 years ago, and I had people go, what are you talking about? And so I got to hit it again before summer hits, because if I sit down with any of your families out at a barbecue and one more family gets out a spray bottle of suntan lotion, goes like this on all their kids, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to just like tear my hair off. Do you realize right now, the more that you use sunscreen, the more probability that you have skin cancer? Did you know that? Yep. Do you know the people that use sunscreen the most have the highest probability of deadly skin cancer? Did you know that? Right? Why? 3 big reasons. They generate free radicals, they've got a strong estrogenic effect, and they're synthetic chemicals that accumulate in body fat stores. Did you get me? Right? Those are the three biggest reasons. If you look at it, there's a good deal of evidence that the sun exposure without sunburn significantly decreases skin cancer. So the one thing you're trying to stay away from is the one thing that will help you keep from it. Now I will say stats are very clear. If you get sunburn multiple times, guess what? Your skin cancer rates go up. I don't deny that. But what I'm saying is, don't get sunburn and don't slather this chemical toxic soup on you and expect that you're not going to have a chemical reaction that destroys you. But don't blame the sun. Do you think God would create something to create cancer in every single person on the face of planet Earth? No, that's not what he did. But toxic people who are getting toxins through their skin and out of their skin have reactions with the sun that now creates everything from skin cancers to skin tags and everything else. Does it make sense? Right? So here, safe sun exposure is the key. And there's two wavelengths I want you to keep in mind. UVB and UVA. Say UVB, and UVA. Right? So UVB produces vitamin D. Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Yeah, UVA. Now I'm not saying this is a completely bad one, but they penetrate deeper and they usually cause free radicalization and a lot of the issues. Now UVA light is all the time. If that sun's up, you've got UVA lights out there, or UVA rays out there. UVB, which is the one I'm going to say that's the most beneficial for you, is mostly just midday. So it's not much in the morning, not much in the evening, which means the best time to get sun is when? Midday. You have to have midday sun. If you're not getting midday sun, I guarantee you that you're not healthy as you should be, because your vitamin D is down. Watch this though. If you put sunscreen on, you basically block your body's ability up to 100%, 99.9% of your body's ability to actually make vitamin D. Are you serious? That's not me, that's the research. Just Google that. And that just comes up 900 different times. You wear sunscreen, then guess what? You will probably have cancer because it blocks your body's ability to produce vitamin D, which is actually a risk factor for having cancer, right? So then watch this. Not only are you going to get skin cancer, but probably going to get breast cancer or colon cancer or lung cancer or whatever else cancer because your vitamin D is leveled down. In fact, watch this. Just so I want to prove it to you. So Queensland, Australia, they promoted highly, more than anybody else, to make sure you wear sunscreen. And they have the highest usage of sunscreen on the planet Earth. And guess what else they have the highest of? Diagnosed skin cancer and deadly melanoma. Right? Right there. And it only started when? When they started marketing and promoting every single human being, make sure you wear sunscreen. Do you think that's a coincidence? Right? So guess what? Just don't give up. Listen, I'm going to be out in the sun and it's going to smoke me. I'm from Texas, but that sun in Florida is just a bit more powerful. Yes? So I'm going to get me a big old Mexican sombrero, about like this, so I can stay out in the sun a lot. And I'm going to put on some natural sunscreen. And you can get it at Sprouts, you can get it at Whole Foods. They got some natural stuff in there. It doesn't have the benzoates and oxybenzones and all these paraben stuff in it and all the rest that actually go right through the skin. Make sense? Right? Now, you may have to put it on several times during the day because you sweat it off or you go swimming and it's gone. But is that okay? Maybe a little bit more work, right? It's all right. Vitamin D deficiency. So if you create that vitamin D deficiency, this is what you get. You can go through the list from heart disease to cholesterol issues, blood pressure levels, kidney function, muscle strength, healthy teeth and bones. Actually, vitamin D leads to arthritis. Then that's not even in there. So how do you get it? Well, midday sun. But watch this. Some of you guys have never seen this chart. This is disease incident prevention by vitamin D level. Okay? So if you look at this, the top, see the numbers at the top? That's your vitamin D serum 25-OHD vitamin D level. You see that? Now the FDA says that nobody has to be above right here, okay? About 18 to 20. But you don't even prevent any of these diseases until you get where? Over here. Actually, it's 30, I'm sorry. You don't even get it until you get into the mid-30s. But do you know if you had a vitamin D level, if every single woman had a vitamin D level of 65, that you'd prevent 67% of all breast cancer today. Bam. Completely researched. And yet, some of you guys don't even know what your vitamin D levels are, right? And if you did, you wouldn't know what test to ask for. That's why we do that here. But it's also why that this is so important. If I've got just a handful of things I can take, this is one of them. Check my bag. Actually, our bags are already getting packed. Dr. Kim, we start working on it at lunch. It's my wife. She's always prepared and organizing. And I looked, and there was 2 bottles of this in the bag already. I was like, thank goodness, because I know tonight some of you guys wait for workshops because it's 10% off, and you buy like 3 months supply tonight, which is okay. That's all right. You can do that. We stocked up. But I'm like, thank God she got that, because we were running low. There's like three left, and there's a lot, and I keep forgetting to get it. Raise your hand if your significant other takes care of it. You better raise your hand over there. So, all right. So I'm going to finish with this. Listen, I love metabolic conditioning. I love body comp changes. I love these things. But the way that you get that is continue with working with this. Guys, I'm a nervous system doctor. I'm not a spine doctor, right? If your nervous system was in your right arm, I wouldn't touch anything about you except for your right arm. Does that make sense? But because your nerve supply is inside your spine, that spine better be healthy. Do you think that you can have a back or neck problem and not have an organ problem? Nope. It's why every single child bends over in front of the school nurse looking for a scoliosis, because Irvin Kaur, a neurosurgeon, won a Nobel Prize in 1976 that says if your spine's even slightly out of alignment, you die 15 years sooner than somebody that's not. How about that? And so every lawmaker jumped on back and said, why law? So if you have a spine that's out of alignment, some of you guys, especially if you've been here for years and years, we had 2 people start their 9th year or something this week. Is that crazy? I haven't done it that long, but 17 years. But, you know, looking at this, if you've been here a long time, sometimes the word subluxation, okay, which is that spinal misalignment, sometimes it loses its grip, its bite. And I don't want to create a spirit of fear in anybody. If you're running away from something, it's just as bad as running into something bad. But, you know, I saw a Facebook post of a lady that came in for care, and she really never got under care at my office. She got 6, 8 adjustments, something like this here, hodgepodge. But she never did anything to correct anything. She never got correction. She never changed her diet. She was, quote, too busy, right? She was too busy to change her life. But then, fast forward, and for this last, basically, 8 months, a year, something like this, I think it's been a year now, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. Well, all of a sudden, the busiest person in town, and if I said your name, you would know who this is, so I'm not going to, but all of a sudden, the busiest person in town left their job, left almost everything that they were doing, left all the home activities, left everything, and spent whatever 3-4 hours every visit, several times a week to have her breasts removed, have chemotherapy, have radiation, have reconstructive work, have all these things. And it's a constant surgery, it's a constant treatment. Now she's on all these other things. And she was talking about, on her post on Facebook that I saw, she goes, I think it was a year coming up, but she goes, I remember the fatal day when the doctor said, you have cancer, and how it shocked her and it changed her whole life. And from that moment forward, she made a decision that that was the enemy and she was going to defeat it, right? But I wonder sometimes, when I told you if you had subluxation, that you had spinal misalignment that was putting pressure on the one system that brings health and keeps your body flowing, that if you thought it was some kind of weird hookuy Middle Eastern thing or some kind of Chinese medicine thing or something weird, wasn't scientific enough or something like this, when I said that, if your stomach dropped out for you, if you had diarrhea that night, like if you knew that I choked off a nerve going to your organ, there should be something inside of you that went, oh my God, my whole life needs to be around making sure I fix that, right? Because guess what she did when he said you have cancer? She didn't go, you know, I may just change my diet. I hope she did. I may just work out a little bit more if I get time. No, the only thing she wanted was how to defeat that one enemy, right? That's it. And in your life, if you've been diagnosed with subluxation, it ought to be something that's still such a priority to you that if I asked you if you did your traction today, or you did head weights, or you did your spinal exercises, it wouldn't be, well, you know, I kind of fell off track a little bit and I'm just doing the best I can. It should be back to the fact that, you know, if I diagnose you with the disease that's going to cause, all of a sudden, everybody takes me serious, right? When I walk in those cancer consults over this next month, I don't have one cancer patient that's a patient in my office right now going, yeah, I just don't have time for this right now. You know, or, you know, maybe I'll start care here another 6 months when I get a little more time, or I save a little money. Guess what I get from that? People are like, listen, you told me the 6 things, I added those are completely, I'm doing 100%. What else do you have? right? It's an implementation as fast as we can. Do you take your life and your health serious enough that you could be that serious before you have a diagnosis, right? Because if you do, then this is what you need to take care of first, then add the rest. Okay, do you with me? Don't tell me you're doing metabolic training and conditioning until you tell me you're doing something for your spine. You with me? Because the people that actually destroy their spines are the ones that actually are not taking care of it, and then because they work out on it, it just destroys underneath them anyway, right? So there it is. It's about as research as it comes. And isn't that pretty? I love that little nerve thing doing this. But these are the good ones. And you can see if that's the case, if this is a lady's uterus, like we had the other day, she couldn't have kids, and now she was told she needed a hysterectomy and had all endometriosis, and now we took her 8-degree curve, straightened it out, took the pressure off the nerve supply. How big of a deal do you think it was that she's holding her new baby now? Do you think it's big when she told she was never going to have children ever? But guess what? If she'd have taken this nerve and left it, and that goes to her uterus right here, could she slather something on her skin and make that better? Could she get injections or take hormone replacement or birth control pills and make her uterus work better? It doesn't replace that lack of nerve supply ever, does it? Well, ever. Nothing will until what? Until I make that nerve like this nerve, which is what happens when you lay on that table. If I adjust you tonight, or if I adjust you today or this week or sometime, if I adjust you, do I adjust you to make sure that you don't have back pain? No, in fact, some of you guys know if I adjust you, you may have a little bit of pain. You hush over there, don't say anything. We're still going around the horn over here. But what's the goal? The goal is that your body's functioning at what percent? 100%. Right? Somebody asked me today, they had a family member, somebody that was doing really bad. They said, hey, do you help with, and they said this condition. And I love that question, because what's the answer every single time, no matter what the condition? Yes. It's yes. What if I've never seen that condition before? Can I help with that? Yes. Why? Because if your body's healing and functioning better, I'm not trying to be fictitious at all, but I mean, are you going to be better off with a subluxation or without a subluxation, no matter what condition you have? Without. And that's the point, right? So here's the warning signs. Again, this is for your guests. This is for you again. This is if you're driving your car, any of these things come up, guess what? You just had a light come on your car. And I mean, this is not something to sneeze at. You know, just having any of these asthmas and insomnia, these are not like symptoms. All of these have a cause. The reason that these kill people, and they're that serious, is because nobody fixes the cause and they treat the what? The symptom, right? So this is first and foremost. Raise your hand if you know somebody that's not here tonight or in this office at all that has one of those symptoms. Just raise your hand high. Just keep them up high. I want to see how many. Come on, raise them up high. Good. So, okay, so now it's basically 100% of the room, okay? So now if you knew if you had x-ray vision and you were walking down the street and you looked in your neighbor's house and then you looked inside your neighbor and you saw a cancerous tumor in their abdomen that actually had fingers that were going out like this, and you knew your neighbor well enough to know they didn't know that, right? Would you go say something?
Yes.
So what's the difference? If your neighbor's children have never been checked for subluxation, and that same person, if they were diagnosed with breast cancer or cancer, would go, that's it, we're going to do whatever. Then I have people go, well, I'm afraid to talk to my neighbor because, we could afford this, but I don't know if my neighbor could afford this, right? Well, who are you to say that, right? Because guess what? When they get diagnosed, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do whatever it takes, right? And so it should be the fact that we give everybody the opportunity. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that, and we will go through these chiropractic things, but we're going to do that on the 2nd of June. Everybody say 2nd of June. 2nd of June. There's the recipe for the pudding, by the way. That you want to write that down, take a picture of it, tattoo that on your arm. That is the chia seed pudding right there. Okay?
I have it in text.
You did. I texted to you. As soon as I made it and I tasted it, I went, I got to text my mom this. This is awesome. She may be the first person on my list. Sorry, everybody else. But this actually has a picture of vanilla. I have not perfected the vanilla recipe yet. I like the chocolate one. I did make vanilla pudding a couple times. I couldn't perfect it. I haven't yet. But if you're going to get it tonight so you can make this, make sure you get the chocolate, not the vanilla. Got it? Okay. But this is the recipe. So make sure you get this 10% off. And they do have enough for that. We ran out. Some of you guys tried to buy it last week and we were out. So we do have extra protein for that. All right. So what's the goal? The goal is to exercise and eat healthy for the next 28 days. Everybody say for how long? So 28 days. Everybody say 28 days. 28 days. 28 days. Now at the 28 days, I don't want you to stop because you reached your goal of doing 28 days. I want you to do 28 days and do another what? You're going to do 28 days. And when you're done with those 28 days, I want you to do what? Another 28 days until if you do enough 28 days, this is just how I live. But you got to start somewhere. We're going to start with this plan. Where's the plan? This is the plan. And something this has is this. This is in your summer shape here. And what it does is it gives some accountability. It's an accountability calendar, right? So it says, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to exercise. This is just 3 days a week of metabolic conditioning. Can you do that?
Yes.
There's not a lot of resounding yeses.
Yes.
So can you do this?
Yes.
Good. And we're going to do that. Listen, if you look at these, each one says super fast workout, 4 surge, super fast workout, 5 upper body. This basically starts with those DVDs. So actually, these are straight off the DVDs. Got it? Okay? If you got questions, let me know. Lots of recipes in this thing. I mean, it is just, from here back is all recipes. Grainless rolls. What? Who wants dinner rolls? Yeah, so you guys are like, bring it. Bring that. Bring that. Teriyaki salmon. Here's this one, right? Here's the gelato. Right? Some of you guys are going to go home and make that tonight probably. Also, Costco's got a deal right now on frozen strawberries, like a 10-pound bag or 5-pound bag or whatever it is, 8-pound bag, 5-pound bag. It's a big bag though. That would be great. They're already cleaned. Take them home, throw a big handful of those in an avocado and zip, and you're good to go. You can have it tonight. There it is. Something I want you to do is, every person here has something ingrained in you genetically that you want to follow what you said you were going to do. Just something about you. If you told me you were going to call me and you didn't, you'd feel what? You'd feel bad. I told them I was going to call, right? Well, part of this doesn't start until you really get serious and you sign your way into this. And so I want you to commit, not to me, and you're not going to show, I'll never see that sheet unless you want to show it to me. If you want to show it to me, I want to see it. Because then it's real accountability. But I want you to sign this so it's a commitment for you to who? Yourself. Got it? Did you get that?
That's how I quit smoking.
That's how you quit smoking. Actually, and you had 2 little boys going, Daddy, why are you smoking?
I tried that many times, but when I did it for me, when I quit for
that was
7
big.
years ago, I quit.
I didn't even plan that.
Thing.
Really?
I quit when they got up to 35 cents a pack.
Well,
You're like $6 a pack now or something crazy. All right. So last couple things. Recipe night, summer barbecue. Who likes barbecue? PB, you better jump up and down, do a jumping jack, do something. So we're gonna do a recipe night. We've never done this. We're gonna do a barbecue recipe night. So I'm gonna actually have healthy barbecue at this one, and healthy barbecue sauce is my plan. Okay, so I haven't got it all figured out yet. There is some great recipes for barbecue sauce, but it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be on the 16th, right? And so that's gonna be a big one. Community dinner is on the 2nd. Every single person here, raise your hand. You knew somebody that had a condition that was on that warning list. And just like seeing cancer in somebody else, if you did not tell them, their issue that eventually comes on is your issue because you didn't say something. Now, if you said something, you got them to dinner. I actually had somebody here that was here last week, and they've asked her for a year to come to dinner. A year. And she finally came. She finally started care. And she goes, man, I am so glad they didn't take no for an answer. And your friends are probably saying that, but they haven't said it yet because they haven't got here yet. So make sure that every single person here is committed. Raise your hand if you can commit to bringing somebody to dinner. Can you do that? Just raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can do that. I'm asking you to raise your hand. So if you have a right hand, raise your hand. Good, excellent. The reason I'm asking that, listen, I'm going to leave for vacation, and my goal is that there are a lot of guests at that dinner when we come back. Just so you guys know, I don't come to work every day to adjust people. I come to work every day to change the current absolute horror of a situation that people's health are in. And I do that one person at a time. But if this is something that you believe in, then the last thing you should ever do is keep it to yourself. Okay, so make sure you talk to somebody, make sure you bring them to dinner. It's also going to be a new restaurant. It's going to be at Simmer. You heard of Simmer? Simmer is a new restaurant over it's on the square in downtown off of Bethel Road over here, kind of off Bethel Road. By the farmer's market. Yeah, it's by the farmer's market. It's supposed to look like an old fire station, and it's in there. We're going to be on the patio on Monday night, the June 2nd. So a summer night on the patio with Dr. David. It's like, how can you beat that? Also, Life Call, you can actually have a workshop at your house. Okay, so just get on a computer at your house. Some of you